good Tai Chi posture, getting into our movements now. Dropping the shoulder, middle finger to the side seam of our pants, tucking our butt, hollowing our chest, chin slightly down, head erect, tongue on our palate, good thoughts. T stance, L stance, turn the hips and waist, bow stance, adjust the back foot. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, out and to the side L, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, drill down on the right, T stance, step out into the side, L stance, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Getting ready to hold our ball, sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball, left hand on the bottom, right hand on the top. T stance, step out on an L, turn the hips and waist, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball on a T, out and to the side, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball on a T stance, step out on an L, bottom hand, left hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, hold your ball, new movement. Grasp the bird's tail. T stance, L stance, bottom head advances to ward off your opponent. Turn your hips and waist, reposition your hands, grasp the bird's tail. Sit back, sit down, look back, turn at the hips and waist, contact, push from the center of the body, separate the energy and roll back and sit down, spiral up and lunge forward. Other side, sit back, sit down, twist step, drill down on the left, hold your ball for better centering and balance, step out on an L, bottom hand advances to forearm your opponent. Turn the hips and waist, reposition the hands, grasp the bird's tail. Sit down, sit back, look back, turn at your hips and waist. Turn at your hips and waist, center of the body, push the energy through. Separate the energy and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward. Sit back, sit down, twist step. T stance, hold your ball. Grasp the bird's tail. Step out, ward off. Give me my space. Turn your hips and waist. Reposition your hands. Grasp the bird's tail. Look back. Turn at your hips and waist. Contact. Push from the center. Separate the energy and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward. Sit back, sit down. Twist step. T stance. Hold your ball. Step out on an L, bottom head advances to forearm and ward off. Turn the hips and waist, reposition the hands, grasp the bird's tail. Turn, contact, push, separate, roll back, sit down. Spiral up, lunge forward. Last set. Sit back, sit down, twist step. T stance, hold your ball. Grasp the bird's tail. Step out, ward off. Turn the hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail. Look back, turn the hips and waist, contact, push from the center, separate, roll back, sit down, spiral up, lunge forward, sit back, sit down, other side, twist step, T stance, L stance, ward off, turn hips and waist, grasp the bird still, look back, turn at the hips and waist, contact, push, separate, roll back and sit down, spiral up and out, sit back, sit down, twist step, new movement, brush knee, T stance, left hand about shoulder, where your fingers are about at your shoulder level. The right hand is higher. We're going to multitask. The first thing that we're going to warm up is to move our right or back hand to our head or ear. Can you do that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth time, the second thing happens. The left hand drops down. 2 things happen. 1, 2, 3. 3 things happen. Head, hand, and heel. We're in a T stance. We want to get into an L stance all together. Head, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist. Brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder, T stance. We want to brush our knee. First warm up the top hand or the left hand to the head. 1, 2. This time the hand goes down of the right. Hand goes down, hand comes to the head. Hand comes to the head, hand comes down. 3 things happen. Head, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, right hand higher, drill down on the right, left hand to the shoulder, multitask, 3 things happen. Head, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, set it up correctly, all together. Head, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step. Left hand higher, right hand to the shoulder, all together. Head, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, listen carefully. Not everybody's doing it correctly. Right hand higher, left hand to your shoulder. We're not going to part the wild horse's mane. We're going to brush our knee. How? 3 things happen. Do it now. Head, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder. All together. Head and hand and heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball on a T stance. Okay. So now my turn to show you what you should be doing, okay? So good platform in which you've started. You're trying to figure it out and trying to make your body do what you think is supposed to be done. If you're right dominant, more than likely one side, that right side is going to be duck-su, so to speak. But the other side is a little goofy because the connections don't seem correct. What essentially you're going to do is the same thing on both sides. First, a good T stance means that I have energy stored on my back or right foot. My advancing foot, which is the left, has no weight because that's the only foot that can move. The left hand is short. It sits to my shoulder, whereas my right is up above here. It's going to steady me with my right leg full of energy. When three things happen, these two happen. It seems like they're connected. When one moves to the head, the other one drops down. But we have to move into a L stance. So when we move into an L stance, three things happen. Head, hand, and heel. Energy still on that right. What do? I turn my hips and waist, move the energy through my system and across my body, out to the tips of both hands and both fingers of both hands. In this bow stance, I need to sit back and sit down. I twist. I store the energy on my left for better balance. I set up my hands correctly. Left hand now is higher, right hand to the shoulder, T-stance. Same thing, head and hand, head and hand. Head, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step. Okay, everybody's watching, right? Because you're going to drill afterwards, but when you move into a certain position, you don't see. So this time you're going to just watch. Three things happen. Turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step. Root down on the left for being steady and obeying gravity. Three things happen all together. Head, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Okay, ready to try. T-stance, holding right hand higher, left hand to the shoulder. Three things happen. Here we go. Head, drop the hand, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, set it up, left hand higher, right hand to the shoulder. All together. Head, hand down, heel out. Turn hips and waist, brush your knee. Okay, so remember the words, set it up correctly. Good. For some reason, your left side, this right side is not correct, okay? So when I say set it up correctly, run a check. Set it up correctly means that one hand has to be higher, one hand has to be lower, and you have to set it. If you don't have this, you can't brush your knee. So when I say set it up correctly, you say, am I brushing my knee or am I parting the wild horse's mane? Or left parting the wild horse's mane? But good, because something's telling me that you know how to part the wild horse's mane. It's like it's drilled in and it becomes natural. Now we just have to make that transition, okay? So let's do 2 sets and then let's kind of move on, okay? All right. This time, let's start this way, okay? Start with our right. Left hand is higher, right hand is to our shoulder, and we're on a T stance, and we have energy stored. We want to do 3 things. Head, hand down, heel out. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step. Left hand to your shoulder, right hand up higher, T stance, all together. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder, T stance. Move all together. Head, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. This is our last set. Sit back, sit down, twist step, right hand higher, left hand to the shoulder, setting it up correctly. We're going to brush our knee. 3 things happen. We're multitasking. Here we go. Ear, hand, and heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step, left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder. We're going to brush our knee, set it up correctly. Ear, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, set it up correctly. Okay, put your hands down now and watch, okay? When I brush my knee, I turn my hips and waist, and I use my spine to rotate. See if that can be visualized. Ear, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. So when I use my whole body, my hands just move into that position. Multitask, turn hips and waist. That hand just stays, moves with my body, okay? Are you watching? The point I want to make is that the hands go for the ride. If we set the hands up correctly, the power of our hips and waist, the energy that's stored, and the spine that can turn, can rotate, does the work for us. That is Tai Chi. It is not merely something like this, where nothing is being used except the upper body, mainly the arms. But what Tai Chi really is that it's has a mystique about it, in that the hands are set up, the hips and the waist and the core drive your movement, besides your mind. Very unlike something so rudimentary that you just move like this. It is something more where your core is engaged. How is it engaged? Watch carefully. You set it up correctly. You move together. You turn the hips and waist and rotate that core. And this brushing here, it might be easier if I do it forward. This brushing here has to do with how well you can turn your hips and waist. If you feel that it's just only a hand motion, then this will do it. You're using your hand. But it's not a hand motion, never a hand motion. You set it up and you turn your hips and waist. Okay? So together, everything moves. The top matches the bottom. You set it up, you multitask, you turn your hips and waist. I don't have any hand motion going. Everything is moving according to where my hips and waist are taking me, according to if my hips and waist are moving. If they are moving, if they are not moving, then this is going to happen, no matter where your hands are set up. So all we have to remind ourselves is that to set it up, then use the power of the energy stored and turning of the hips and waist, turning of the hips and waist, and spiraling on our core or our spine, turning this, okay? So this may seem kiddish, but if you put your pointing finger up, okay, if everybody puts up their pointing finger, this is your spine, and it can rotate. So how do you rotate? You turn. This is the body turning, spinning. That's this guy. But once you decide that, oh, I don't know what to do with my hands, then you're going to force the movement through your hand. But once you understand what I'm saying and understand it clearly, then you make your body work for that understanding and knowledge that you have, okay? So let's now review how to get into cloud hands. And what I'm shooting for is going through the 10 form and putting all the movements together, and also teaching you how to be a golden cockerel and how to kick out, okay? All right, so we said we're going to now do cloud hands. First, I think warming up, okay? So in cloud hands, and you're going to listen and follow, left hand is higher, palms facing you, right hand away. Lower, palms away. Root down on the right, open, middle, stem and cup at 12, shift weight to the left, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. Turn the hips and waist to 12 o'clock. Turn the hips and waist to 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. 12 o'clock stem cup. This time at 9 o'clock, only 1 thing happens. Flip the hands. Turn the hips and waist to 12. You should have a stem and a cup, a stem and a dangle. 3 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. 12 o'clock, stem and a dangle. 9 o'clock, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. Stem and a dangle. 3 o'clock, only 1 thing happens. At 12 o'clock, we're going to get out of cloud hands, shift our weight to the left foot, come up as a golden cockerel. Down, shift the weight to the right, come up as a golden cockerel. Down, 50-50, gather the energy, right hand on the outside of the cross, right foot coming up, kick out right. Down, shift weight to the right, left hand on the outside, left foot coming up, kick out left. Holding your ball on a T stance, we're going to ward off, okay? That's the sequence. Okay, so now, let's see, there are many ways of tackling it. I'm gonna assume that you know how to do cloud hands, okay? And we'll go over going in and out of cloud hands right now, okay? And that'll give us a little bit more practice. So cloud hands occurs when we last do our second parting of the wild horse's mane. So when we part the wild horse's mane, we do 2 times. First time is to the left. Let's do it that way, okay? T stance, left hand on the bottom, right hand on the top, holding your ball. We're going to part the wild horse's mane to get into cloud hands. This is the first parting of the wild horse's mane. T stance, L stance, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, twist step, hold your ball, T stance, part the wild horse's mane. Step out on an L, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Here sets you up for cloud hands. Flip the forward hand so you no longer see the palm. Join it with the back or left hand where you can see the palm. You're in a bow stance. The choreograph says we have to sit back and sit down. Here we go. Sit back, sit down. Choreograph says we have to twist. Here brings us to 12. The stem of the left hand and the dangle of the right or bottom hand gets you to 12. To get out to 9 o'clock, we're going to have to pivot on our left heel. Here we go. Pivot your left heel out to 9. 2 things happen. What? Flip the hands, close the feet. 12 o'clock stem cup. Going out to the 3, 2 things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. 12 o'clock stem cup, turn the hips and waist to 9. Flip the hands only. Turn the hips and waist to 12. Stem and a dangle. 2 things happen at 3. Flip the hands, close the feet. 12 o'clock stem and a dangle. Turn the hips and waist to 9. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, open the feet. 12, dangle and a stem. To get out of cloud hands, only 1 thing happens at 3. Flip the hands. But at 12 o'clock, we push down our left hand, we pull up our right with our right foot, golden cockerel. Down, shift weight to the right, push down our right, pull up our left, golden cockerel. Down, 50-50, 50% evenly distributed on both feet. Draw the energy to the center, Turn the wrist so that the palms are facing you with the right hand on the outside. Bring it up. Right hand on the outside to follow the right foot kicking out, down. Left hand on the outside, left foot coming up. Follow your left hand with your left kick, down, holding your ball on a T stance, and we're going to then ward off. Turn the hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail. Contact, turn, push, separate, roll back, spiral up and out. Other side, twist step, T stance, gonna ward off. How? Step out, use that forearm to ward off your opponent. Turn the hips and waist and grasp the bird's tail. Turn again and contact, push from the center. Separate and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and out. We're gonna apparently close. Sit back, sit down. Twist in, twist out, twist in. Embrace the tiger, right hand on the inside of the cross. Move the energy over. Rotate on the wrists so that the palms are now facing you. Bring the tiger slightly in. Push him away one last time. Separate the energy. How are you going to close? Drop the shoulders, flex the knees. Obey gravity. Wrap around, heel up, off the ground, toe down, arch, heel down. Closing form. Okay, so good. So what we've tried to do is put cloud hands into the right position and then follow it up with all the rest of the movements, which we'll then take apart in successive lessons and work on them as drills. Okay, a lot of them techniques and what the hands are doing are behind you, so you are behind me so that you can't see. So this time, I'm going to show you what they do, okay, what the hands do, and how they match with what I voice. So, let's see, how am I going to do it? I'm going to grasp the birds. I'm going to go up the horse's mane. Sets me up for cloud hands. I flip the forward hand. I join it with the back hand. Bow stance. I want to get into a sit back, sit down. Sit back, sit down. Twist step, 12 o'clock. A stem and a dangle. I want to get out to the 9 o'clock. I pivot on my heel. Two things happen at 9. I flip my hands, I close my feet. Turn my hips and waist at 12, I'm here. Turn my hips and waist, I'm here at my 3, two things happen. Flip my hands, open my feet. I'm at 12, about 50-50. But at 9 o'clock, I only want to do one thing. Move my hips and waist to 12. At 3 o'clock, I close. Going in that other direction now. I open, but I'm done with cloud hands. Therefore, I stop at my 3 and I shift my weight. You see how I'm shifting my weight so that at 12, I come up as a golden cockerel. When I come up as a golden cockerel, I drill down here, and what do? I counterbalance. I push down and I pull up. I come down 50-50, I shift my weight to the other side, I pull up my left, hand and foot, I push down, so this is my counterbalance. I come down, this time I want to kick out. I gather energy, I'm going to do a right kick. Therefore, my right hand is going to come on the outside of the cross. It's not going to be on the inside of my cross. So I'm going to gather my energy. My right hand's going to be on the outside because I want to follow my kick with my hand. And the other hand, the left hand, counters me. So in counterbalancing, you are more stable. So if you're more stable and you're countering, if one hand is going this way, the other one has to go this way, rather than this is not counterbalancing. It's not giving you any support. You want to create a stable form. So if the left foot is down here and the right hand is on an angle, the other one should take that opposite view, opposite formation. When I want to kick out left, I shift my weight, I gather and center my energy. My left hand is on the outside, and I follow my kick. Okay? Now, just watch, because I want to get into showing you where my hands are, and in the process of watching, it can help you to better do your grasping of the bird's tail. I sink down, I store that energy so I can expend it. The other side, I center myself because I'm on one foot. I move. I grasp the bird's tail. Is that right? Yep. Turn at my hips and waist, turn again. Contact, but in the middle, I push the energy through. I roll back and I sit down, storing that energy, bringing it up, pushing it out. Watch closely. Closing, apparently closing. I'm in a bow stance. I sit back and sit down. I twist in. I twist out. Did the top match the bottom? I twist in. I'm going to embrace the tiger, but the right hand has to go inside the cross. It cannot come this way where it's outside. So my right hand, I come in, I embrace the tiger. You notice that I embrace him right in the center of me. I bring him here. I move my energy over. I turn at my wrist so that now both palms are facing me. I have the tiger at my chest. I pull him slightly in, get that momentum to then push him, push him. Use the wrist, the power of the contacting of the wrist to then push him out. Separate the energy, drop the shoulders, flex the knees, wrap around, heel up, off the ground, toe, arch, heel, closing form. Okay, so now you know that when I say what it means when you, so your job now is to watch me, and you're going to say, is her top matching her bottom? And what does she mean when she says right hand on the inside, okay? So this is the last grasping of the bird's tail. Pivot in, pivot out, pivot in, embrace the tiger, move over, up, right hand on the inside. Now the right hand is on the outside, but that's fine. But you set it up correctly. A lot of people get confused. Okay, let me just run it by one more time. You push out, twist in, twist out, twist in, embrace the tiger. Fine. This is how you embrace, right in the center of you. Move over, turn at the wrist. So now both the palms are facing you, so the tiger is right at your chest level. Bring him closer, push him out. Okay, can we try that? I'm going to turn this way, and we're going to push out. Left foot forward, push out. We're in a bow stance. We need to get into a sit down and sit back, right? Sit back, sit down. Pivot in, pivot out, pivot in, embrace the tiger. Right hand on the inside, got it? Shift over, rotate on your wrist, so now the palms are facing you. At chest level, bring the tiger closer, push him out. Shoulder width away, drop the shoulders, flex the knees, wrap around, heel up, off the ground, toe, arch, heel. Closing form. One more time. Left foot forward. We have just done the last grasping of the bird's tail. Push out. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Pivot out. Pivot in. Embrace the tiger, right hand on the inside. Shift the weight to the left. Move over, rotate on the wrist. Palms are facing. Bring the tiger closer slightly. Push him away. Separate the hands and separate the energy. Drop the shoulders, flex the knees. Wrap around, heel up, toe off the ground, toe, arch, heel, closing form. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, so don't worry. When you embrace the tiger this way, let's watch and then I'll let you do it, okay? When you embrace the tiger this way, you're going to rotate. You see what I'm doing? I'm rotating. I've contacted here. All you do is going to bring it here. So don't think it's wrong. Don't worry about right hand now where it is. All you did is make sure that the palms are now facing you. Then when you push away, you can't push away like this. You see, my hands are gaping, but you're going to have to keep that contact so the power then pushes away a little bit of resistance, not light and flimsy, okay? Because that's the intention of pushing the tiger away. All right, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to take a stance like me, and we're going to embrace the tiger. When we embrace the tiger, the right hand is on the inside. So we're going to put the right hand on the inside of the cross, right in the center of us, okay? So this is how we embraced him, and everybody has contact. Okay, drop down a little bit more. Just drop down, yeah. All right, now, he's here. We want to turn, keep the contact of the two wrists. We want to turn, and what? Palms are facing us, right? And we're at chest level. Bring the tiger slightly closer, then push him out. Drop the shoulders, drop the elbows, let gravity take you home. Actually, our mind was too close, okay. So one more time. Bring your feet a little bit closer rather than wide apart, okay? Okay, we're gonna embrace the tiger. How? Right hand on the inside of the cross. You've contacted the wrist, right? The wrists are touching each other. Turn on it, just turn on it. And bring him up. Bring him in. Push him out. Drop the shoulders, flex the knees, then wrap around, okay? So in this situation, the stance was not really correct, okay? But you know that in doing Tai Chi, and it's a dance-like movement, there's a little bit more give. But right now we're in a still position. It's a little hard, but just to make the point that the right hand comes in, the right hand turns. So right hand in, it turns. All it does is keep the contact and just turn. Never lose contact with your hand. Then your hands are like this, the palms are in, then slightly in, then push out, push out. Come on. Okay, I think that you'll get it, okay? Once you leave the point where I say right hand on the inside, don't worry about what's right and what's inside and what's outside. Once you do, then you're going to get confused. So just remember that when you embrace the tiger, do it with me, you put the right hand inside the cross. After that, you keep the touching, the contact, and you just spin on turn on the wrist. So now the palms are facing you. Then you push tiger slightly in, then you push him out. Then you turn your palms, down, and then down. Okay. So